The morning sun painted the Korean mountains in soft gold as Hana climbed the rocky trail. Her backpack bounced with each step. Inside were her dental textbooks and practice tools. She always brought them on hikes to study in quiet places. 22 years old, Hana was in her final year of dental school. Her professors said she had gentle hands and endless patience. These were good things for someone who wanted to help people with tooth pain. The mountain trail grew steeper. Pine trees whispered in the cool breeze. Hana loved these solo hikes. They helped her think clearly about her studies. Her phone had no signal up here. The city felt very far away. A strange sound made her stop walking. It was not a bird or animal, she knew. The sound came again. It was like a whimper mixed with a growl. Something was hurt and afraid. Hana followed the sound off the main trail. She pushed through thick bushes. Branches caught her jacket. The whimpering grew louder. Behind a large rock, she found something impossible. A small creature lay curled in a ball. It was no bigger than a house cat, but looked nothing like any earth animal. The creature had scales that shimmered blue and green in the sunlight. Tiny wings were folded against its back. The wings had torn membranes that dripped clear fluid. "Oh, my," Hana whispered. The creature's head snapped up. Large golden eyes stared at her. The eyes held intelligence and fear. This was not just an animal. This was something much more. The creature tried to stand but fell back down. One of its legs was twisted wrong. But what caught Hana's attention most was how it kept pawing at the right side of its face. The small dragon-like being was clearly in pain. Near the creature sat a strange object. It looked like a metal egg with burn marks. Smoke still rose from cracks in its surface. This had to be some kind of small spacecraft. Hana's mind raced. This was first contact with an alien being. She should call someone. The government. Scientists. The military. But the creature whimpered again and her training took over. She was studying to be a healer. Pain was pain. Fear was fear. It did not matter what species felt these things. "Hey there, little one," Hana said in a soft voice. She kept very still. "You're hurt, aren't you?" The creature backed against the rock. It tried to bare its teeth but winced in pain. One of its back teeth looked broken and swollen. The gum around it was purple with infection. Hana recognized the signs immediately. Dental abscess. She had seen it many times in her clinic rotations. The infection would spread if not treated. Even aliens could die from untreated dental infections, it seemed. "That tooth really hurts," Hana said. She slowly sat down on the ground. "I can help with that." The creature tilted its head. Its golden eyes studied her face. It made soft chirping sounds. The sounds almost seemed like questions. Hana opened her backpack very slowly. The creature tensed but did not run. Its injured leg probably made running impossible anyway. From her pack, Hana took out a small bottle of water. She poured some into her palm and took a sip. Then she offered the water to the creature. "Water," she said clearly. "Good for you." The creature sniffed the air. Its small pink tongue darted out. After a long moment, it leaned forward and lapped water from her palm. The trust in that simple act made Hana's heart warm. While the creature drank, Hana studied its injuries. The wing tears looked painful but not deadly. The twisted leg was probably sprained, not broken. But that infected tooth was serious trouble. The creature finished drinking and settled back. It kept watching Hana with those intelligent golden eyes. Sometimes it would chirp or trill softly. The sounds had patterns like language. "You're trying to talk to me, aren't you?" Hana said. "I wish I could understand." From her backpack, Hana took out an apple. She bit into it, chewed, and swallowed. Then she offered a small piece to the creature. The creature sniffed the apple piece. After a moment of thought, it took the fruit in its small clawed hands and nibbled carefully. Its face brightened. The apple seemed to agree with its alien tastes. As the creature ate, Hana noticed something important. It chewed only on the left side of its mouth. The right side, where the infected tooth sat, was avoided completely. This confirmed her diagnosis. The sun climbed higher. Hana knew she needed to make a choice. She could leave and get help from authorities, but that might take hours or days. The creature could die from infection by then, or she could try to help, now with her limited supplies and knowledge. The creature finished the apple piece and looked at her hopefully. Those golden eyes held such trust now. How could she walk away from pain when she had the skills to help? "Okay, little dragon," Hana said softly. "I don't know where you came from or how you got here, but I'm going to help you." The creature chirped as if it understood. Maybe it did. Hana looked at her watch. It was still early morning. She had all day before anyone would expect her back in the city. Time enough to try helping this impossible visitor from the stars. She stood up slowly. The creature watched her, every movement. "Can you travel a little bit?" Hana asked. She gestured toward the trail. "My apartment is not far. I have better supplies there." The creature struggled to stand. Its injured leg could not hold much weight. Without thinking, Hana knelt down and carefully scooped the small being into her arms. The creature went rigid with fear for a moment. Then it relaxed against her jacket. It was surprisingly warm, and its scales felt smooth like polished stone. "Don't worry," Hana whispered as she carried her impossible patient toward home. "I'll fix that tooth, I promise." Behind them, the crashed pod continued to smoke. Evidence of a journey across vast space now lay broken on a Korean mountainside. But Hana was already thinking ahead. She had dental tools at her apartment, local anesthetic, antibiotics left over from her own recent dental work, basic, surgical, supplies. It would have to be enough. She was going to perform the first interstellar dentistry in human history. The creature chirped softly as they walked. For the first time since crash landing on this strange world, it felt something new. Hope. Hana's small apartment sat on the third floor of an old building near the university. She climbed the stairs carefully while holding the alien creature. The small dragon had fallen asleep in her arms during the walk down the mountain. Its breathing was quick and shallow from pain. Inside her apartment, Hana cleared space on her kitchen table. She laid out clean towels to make a soft bed. The creature woke when she set it down. Golden eyes looked around the strange new place with curiosity and fear. "It's okay," Hana said softly. "You're safe here." The apartment was simple but clean. Sunlight came through large windows. Books about teeth and dental care filled every shelf. On her desk sat practice models of human jaws and dental tools. The creature tried to stand, but its hurt leg would not hold weight. It sat back down with a small whimper. The right side of its face was more swollen now. The infection was getting worse. Hana washed her hands thoroughly. From her bathroom medicine cabinet she gathered supplies: ibuprofen for pain and swelling, hydrogen peroxide to clean wounds, antibiotic cream for cuts. From her dental kit came small mirrors, probes, and forceps. She also found the bottle of antibiotics from her own recent dental work. There were 5 pills left. It might be enough to fight the creature's infection. The creature watched her every movement. When Hana approached with the supplies, it backed away across the table. Trust only went so far. "I know this looks scary," Hana said. She held up the small dental mirror. "But these tools help fix teeth." To show what she meant, Hana opened her own mouth. She used the mirror to examine her back teeth. She let the creature see that the tools did not hurt her. "See? Just for looking." Creature tilted its head. Those golden eyes showed it was thinking hard about what it saw. Hana had an idea. She went to her desk and returned with paper and colored pencils. She drew simple pictures. First, a sad face holding its cheek, then the same face smiling after visiting a dentist. The creature leaned forward to study the drawings. It made soft, trilling sounds that almost seemed like questions. When Hana pointed to the sad face, the creature touched its own swollen cheek and chirped sadly. "Yes, exactly," Hana said. "Tooth pain, but I can help." She drew another picture. This one showed the dental mirror looking at a tooth. She pointed to the creature's mouth, then to the mirror, then back to the drawing. The creature considered this for a long time. Pain must have decided for it because it finally opened its small mouth just a little. Hana moved very slowly. The creature's mouth was different from human mouths, but not completely alien. It had rows of small, sharp teeth for eating meat. The back molars looked almost human, and one of those molars was definitely infected. "Oh, you poor thing," Hana whispered. "That must hurt so much." The infected tooth was cracked down the middle. The gum around it was purple and swollen. Pus leaked from where the tooth met the gum. Without treatment, the infection would spread to the creature's brain or heart. The creature pulled back and closed its mouth. It had shown her the problem. Now it waited to see what she would do. Hana thought carefully. She needed to remove the broken tooth completely, but first she had to manage the pain and clean the infection. The creature would need to trust her with sharp tools near its face. She started with the gentlest approach. From her kitchen, she brought warm salt water. She showed the creature how to swish and spit by doing it herself first. The creature watched, carefully, then tried to copy her movements. When the salt water touched the infected area, the creature's eyes went wide with surprise. The warm salt felt good on the sore gum. It swished the water around more vigorously and seemed to understand this was helping. Next came the antibiotic. Hana crushed half a pill and mixed it with honey to hide the bitter taste. She tasted it, herself first to show it was safe. The creature accepted the sweet mixture without trouble. For pain, Hana dissolved ibuprofen in water. Again, she tasted it first. The creature drank the medicine willingly. Trust was growing between them. While they waited for the medicine to work, Hana prepared for the tooth extraction. She sterilized her smallest dental forceps in boiling water. The creature watched with interest rather than fear now. An hour passed. The pain medicine seemed to be working. The creature was more relaxed and even started exploring the apartment. It examined her dental textbooks with great interest. Sometimes it would chirp and point at pictures of teeth. "You understand what these are, don't you?" Hana said. "You're very smart." The creature found her hand mirror and spent time looking at its own reflection. It opened its mouth wide and tried to see the problem tooth. When it spotted the infection, it made disgusted sounds and pointed angrily at the bad tooth. "Yes, that one needs to come out," Hana agreed. By afternoon, Hana felt ready to try the extraction. She showed the creature each tool and explained what it would do. The small dragon seemed to understand and even nodded at appropriate times. "This might hurt a little," Hana warned, "but it will stop the big hurt." The creature positioned itself carefully on the towels. It opened its mouth and held, very still. The trust in that gesture amazed Hana. This intelligent being was allowing her to help despite being afraid. Hana worked as gently as possible. The infected tooth was loose from the swelling. With careful pressure from the forceps, it came out, cleanly. A small amount of pus and blood followed. The creature's eyes watered, but it did not cry out or pull away. As soon as the tooth was gone, relief showed on its small face. The constant throbbing pain had finally stopped. Hana cleaned the socket with salt water and applied antibiotic cream. "All done," she said with a smile. The creature explored its mouth with its tongue. For the first time since the crash landing, it was free from pain. It looked at Hana with something new in its golden eyes. Gratitude. And the beginning of deep friendship. Outside, the sun was setting over the Korean mountains. Inside, two very different beings had found common ground in the simple act of healing. 3 days passed since the tooth extraction. The small dragon creature healed quickly in Hana's apartment. Its wing membranes stopped bleeding and began to mend. The sprained leg grew stronger each day. Most importantly, the infection in its mouth completely cleared up. Hana had called in sick to her dental classes. She could not leave her unusual patient alone. The creature needed constant care, and she was fascinated by its intelligence. It learned new things every hour. On the morning of the 4th day, something amazing happened. Hana was making breakfast when the creature spoke its first human word. "Hana." She dropped her coffee cup. It shattered on the kitchen floor. She turned to stare at the small dragon sitting on her table. "You said my name," she whispered. The creature nodded. Its golden eyes sparkled with pride. Hana good. Hana help. The words were simple, but clear. The creature had been listening to her talk. For days, somehow it was learning Korean at an incredible speed. How is this possible? Hana asked. The creature touched its own throat with one small claw. Kai learned fast. Kai species have gift for words. Kai, that's your name? Yes. Kai is name. Hana is name. The small dragon smiled, showing healthy teeth where the infected one used to be. Hana fixed Kai tooth. Kai very grateful. Over the next hours, Kai's language skills improved rapidly. He explained that his people called themselves the Draconic Sovereignty. They were an old species that had spread across many star systems. Their natural ability to learn languages helped them communicate with conquered worlds. Conquered? Hana asked with concern. Kai's expression grew sad. Draconic people take worlds from others, make other species into slaves. Kai not want this life. He told her his story in growing detail as his Korean improved. Kai was born into the royal family of the Draconic Sovereignty. His father was a great war leader who had destroyed hundreds of worlds. Kai was supposed to learn the family business of conquest and slavery, but Kai was different from other dragons. He felt sorry for the people his species hurt. When he was old enough to join military training, he refused to fight weak creatures. His instructors called him broken and worthless. Dragons believe strong should rule. Weak should die or serve strong. No mercy, no healing. Kai touched his cheek where the tooth used to hurt. Dragons would leave Kai to die from tooth pain. Say Kai weak if cannot handle small pain. That's terrible, Hana said. Everyone deserves medical care. This is why Kai ran away, stole small ship and escaped. But ship damaged in chase. Crash on your world. Kai explained that he had never seen anyone heal an enemy before meeting Hana. In dragon society, showing mercy was considered shameful weakness. The sick and injured were left to die. Only the strongest survived. Hana showed Kai new way, he said with wonder. Hana healed Kai even though Kai is stranger. Hana not ask for payment or service, just help because Kai hurt. That afternoon, Hana's brother Minho came to visit unexpectedly. He used his spare key to enter the apartment and found his sister having tea with a small alien dragon. Minho froze in the doorway. His mouth fell open. Hana, what is that thing? This is Kai, Hana said calmly. He's a friend who needed help. Minho pulled out his phone. I'm calling the police. The military. Someone needs to know about this. Wait, Kai said clearly. Please not fear Kai. Kai small and harmless. Minho dropped his phone. It talks? He talks, Hana corrected. Kai is very intelligent. He crashed here by accident. Accident? Minho looked suspicious. How do we know he's not some kind of invasion scout? Kai hung his small head. Minho, right to worry. Kai people are dangerous, but Kai different. Kai ran away because no one hurt others. To prove his peaceful intentions, Kai carefully approached Minho's broken motorcycle helmet sitting by the door. The helmet had a cracked visor that Minho had been meaning to repair for months. Kai pulled a small device from his crash pod wreckage. The device glowed with soft blue light. When Kai touched it to the cracked visor, the plastic began to flow like water and reseal itself perfectly. Kai fix things, not break things, the small dragon said. This is gift for Minho. Show Kai wants. Friendship. Minho picked up his helmet. The visor looked brand new. This is incredible. How did you do that? Dragon technology very advanced, but Kai people only use for weapons and conquest. Kai prefer to use for helping. Over dinner, Kai told Minho the same story he had shared with Hana. Minho's suspicion slowly changed to sympathy. By the end of the evening, he was asking Kai to fix his broken motorcycle engine. My people would laugh at Kai for this, the small dragon said as he repaired the engine with his healing device. Dragons think fixing things for others is work for slaves. Well, your people sound like jerks, Minho said bluntly. Kai laughed, a sound like silver bells. Yes, dragons are jerks. This why Kai leave. That night, as they prepared for bed, Kai made a confession that worried Hana. Kai must tell truth. Kai not just any dragon. Kai is Prince, son of greatest war leader in draconic sovereignty. Hana felt cold fear. What does that mean for us? It means Kai father will look for Kai. Will not stop until find Kai and bring back to face punishment for running away. Kai's golden eyes were full of sorrow. Hana and Minho in danger because help Kai. Maybe should leave to protect you. Absolutely not, Hana said firmly. You're our friend now. Friends stick together. But Kai father has many ships, many soldiers. If find Kai here, we'll destroy this place and everyone in it. Minho crossed his arms. Let them try. We're tougher than we look. Kai stared at both humans with amazement. In dragon society, nobody would risk their life for someone else unless forced to, but these humans were volunteering to face danger for his sake. Why? He asked softly. Why risk everything for Kai? Hana smiled and gently touched the spot where his infected tooth used to be. Because that's what friends do. We take care of each other. For Kai, who had grown up in a world where strength was everything and mercy was weakness, this was a revolutionary idea. These humans had shown him something his own species had never learned. The power of compassion could be stronger than the power of force. Outside, unknown to them all, long-range scanners had detected the energy signature from Kai's crashed ship. The hunt was about to begin. 1 week after Kai learned to speak Korean, the peaceful days in Hana's apartment came to an end. It started with strange lights in the sky. Minho noticed them first while working on his motorcycle in the building's courtyard. 3 silver objects moved against the stars. They were too fast to be airplanes and too controlled to be meteors. Hana, Minho called up to her window. You need to see this. Hana and Kai joined him outside. When Kai saw the lights, his small body went rigid with fear. Father found Kai, he whispered. Draconic hunter ships, very dangerous. The lights disappeared beyond the mountains, but their message was clear. The search had begun. 2 days later, government officials arrived at Hana's university. They asked questions about missing person reports and unusual activities in the HFY Mountains. Someone had detected the energy signature from Kai's crashed ship. Hana's dental professor, Dr. Lee, pulled her aside after class. Strange men came asking about you, he said with concern. They wanted to know if you had reported finding anything unusual during your mountain hikes. I told them no, but they seemed very interested in you specifically. That evening, a knock came at Hana's door. She opened it to find a young woman in a government suit. Miss Hana, my name is Jiwon. I work for the Ministry of Science and Technology. May I come in? Hana hesitated. Kai was hidden in her bedroom, but his presence would be obvious to any careful observer. Food bowls, tiny furniture, and alien technology were scattered around the apartment. I know about your friend, Jiwon said quietly. The small dragon. I'm not here to hurt him. Surprised by her directness, Hana let her in. Jiwon looked around the apartment with professional interest. She noted the repaired electronics and the tiny bed made of towels. Where is he? Jiwon asked. Kai emerged from the bedroom. He studied the government woman with careful golden eyes. You smell of fear but not anger, he said. Why you help us? Because I believe first contact should be handled with wisdom, not weapons, Jiwon replied. Unfortunately, my superiors disagree. She sat down at Hana's kitchen table. Let me explain the situation. 3 days ago, our satellites detected a draconic sovereignty fleet entering Earth's solar system. They made contact through our deep space communication network. Jiwon pulled out a tablet and showed them a recording. The screen displayed a massive dragon wearing golden armor. His scales were dark red like dried blood. His voice was deep and threatening. I am war leader Vex of the draconic sovereignty. We demand the return of stolen property. A young dragon escaped our custody and crashed on your world. You will locate and return this criminal immediately. Kai shrank back from the screen. That is Kai Father, worst dragon in all the galaxy. He gave us 3 Earth days to find you, Jiwan continued. If we refuse, he says the fleet will assume Earth is harboring a criminal. That would justify a military response. What does that mean? Hana asked. It means war, Jiwan said simply. A war we cannot win. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. Minho had been listening from the doorway. So what's the plan? Hand over Kai to save ourselves? That's what the government wants to do, Jiwan admitted. But I think there might be another way. She turned to Kai. You're not just any escaped prisoner, are you? Your father called you stolen property, not a runaway criminal. What aren't you telling us? Kai looked at Hana, then at Minho. These humans had risked everything to help him. They deserve the complete truth. Kai is heir to Draconic throne, he said quietly. Father wants Kai back not just for punishment. Needs Kai to continue royal bloodline. Without Kai, father power weakens. You're a prince, Jiwan said with understanding. Your disappearance isn't just embarrassing. It's politically dangerous. For your father. Yes. Other dragons watch to see if father strong enough to control even own son. If Kai escapes and lives free, shows other dragons that father rule can be challenged. Jiwan smiled for the first time since arriving. Then you're not just a refugee. You're a symbol of resistance against tyranny. She explained her plan. Instead of hiding Kai or surrendering him, they would make his story public. Show the world what the draconic sovereignty really was. Let Earth's people decide if they wanted to hand over someone seeking freedom from an oppressive regime. It's risky, she admitted. Your father might attack anyway. But it's better than just giving up. No, Kai said firmly. Too dangerous for Earth people. Kai will go back. Better one dragon suffers than whole world destroyed. Absolutely not, Hana said just as firmly. We're not abandoning you. Hana not understand. Father will hurt everyone Kai cares about. We'll destroy this place and kill all humans who helped Kai. Better Kai sacrifice self. Minho knelt down to look Kai in the eyes. Listen, little brother. You taught us that showing mercy isn't weakness. Now let us show you that protecting friends isn't foolishness. Humans very strange, Kai said with wonder. Risk everything for one small dragon. That's what makes us human, Hana replied. The next morning, Jiwan arranged for Kai to speak at a United Nations emergency session. World leaders would hear his story directly. The session would be broadcast globally. As they prepared to leave for the UN building, Kai seemed very small and scared. This was the first time he would face the possibility of his father's wrath with others standing beside him. What if plan not work? He asked Hana. What if father attacks anyway? Then we'll face it together, she replied. You're not alone anymore. Outside the building, protesters had already gathered. Some demanded that Earth surrender Kai to avoid war. Others held signs supporting his right to asylum. The whole world was watching. In his hidden ship above the Pacific Ocean, war leader Vex monitored human communications with growing fury. His son was not just hiding, he was turning himself into a symbol of rebellion against everything the draconic sovereignty represented. This could not be allowed to continue. Vex gave orders to his fleet. If the humans refused to surrender his son by sunset, they would learn what happened to worlds that defied dragon rule. The hunt was entering its final phase. But for the first time in galactic history, the prey was not running alone. At the UN building, Kai took a deep breath and prepared to tell his story to the world. Beside him, Hana squeezed his small claw gently. Remember, she whispered, you're not asking them to fight for you. You're giving them a chance to fight for what they believe in. The small dragon who had crashed in Korean mountains looking for dental help was about to change the course of galactic politics. The United Nations Assembly Hall had never been so full. Representatives from every nation on Earth sat in tense silence. News cameras from around the world focused on the small podium where Kai would speak. Hana sat in the front row next to Jiwan. Her heart pounded as she watched her friend climb onto a specially made platform so he could reach the microphone. Kai looked very small under the bright lights. "My name is Kai," he began in clear Korean. Translators quickly converted his words into dozens of languages. "I am from the Draconic Sovereignty. I came to your world by accident when I ran away from my people." He told his story simply and honestly, about growing up in a society where mercy was weakness, about being trained to conquer and destroy other species, about refusing to hurt innocent people and being called defective by his own family. "My father teaches that strong should rule and weak should serve or die. I was taught that helping others is shameful, that healing the sick wastes resources better spent on weapons." Kai paused and looked directly at Hana. "But human named Hana found me hurt and afraid. She could have left me to die. She could have turned me over to your authorities for reward. Instead, she saw that I was in pain and helped me." He touched his cheek where the infected tooth used to be. "Hana fixed my tooth. Not because she had to, not because I could pay her, just because I hurt and she could help. This is not weakness. This is strength I never knew existed." The assembly listened with complete attention. Many representatives leaned forward in their seats. "My father comes now with many ships and weapons. He demands you return me for punishment. If you refuse, he will attack your world." Kai's voice grew stronger. "But I ask you not to surrender me to save yourselves. I ask you to let me stay so. I can learn more about this human strength called compassion." When Kai finished speaking, the hall erupted in discussion. Some delegates argued for surrendering him to avoid war. Others insisted that Earth should never hand over someone seeking freedom from tyranny. The debate lasted for hours. Finally, the Secretary General called for a vote. The result was close but clear. By a margin of 12 votes, the United Nations declared Kai a political refugee under Earth's protection. They would not surrender him to the Draconic Sovereignty. War leader Vex received the news aboard his flagship as it orbited behind Earth's moon. His rage shook the entire ship. These primitive humans dared to defy the might of the Draconic Sovereignty. "Prepare for planetary bombardment," he ordered his fleet. "We will reduce their cities to ash. Then we will take my son from the ruins." But Vex had made a crucial mistake. He underestimated human nature. As the dragon ships moved into attack position, something unprecedented happened. Instead of military resistance, Earth responded with something the Draconic Sovereignty had never encountered: medical aid. Long-range scanners detected that the dragon ships were leaking toxic gases. Earth's atmosphere was slowly poisoning the Draconic crews. Their ships' life support systems were failing under the strain of operating in an alien environment. Any reasonable military force would exploit this weakness, attack while the enemy was vulnerable. Instead, Earth's response was coordinated by Hana. "They're dying," she announced at an emergency UN session. "Their ships are breaking down and their crews are getting sick. We need to help them." "Help them?" The Secretary General looked confused. "They came here to destroy us." "Doesn't matter," Hana replied firmly. "They're living beings in medical distress. We have the technology to fix their atmospheric filters. We should offer assistance." Many delegates thought she had lost her mind, but Kai supported her completely. "This is human way," he told the assembly. "Help even enemies when they suffer. Show dragons what real strength looks like." The decision was made. Earth would offer medical assistance to the invasion fleet. When the offer was transmitted to Vex's ship, the war leader assumed it was some kind of trick. No species in galactic history had ever offered to heal their enemies during battle. "It's a trap," he told his officers. "They want to board our ships and plant explosives." But his medical officer disagreed. "Sir, we're losing crew members every hour to atmospheric poisoning. If the humans really can fix our life support systems, we need their help." 2 dragon warriors had already died from toxic exposure. Dozens more were critically ill. Vex himself was showing early symptoms of poisoning. Reluctantly, he agreed to let 1 human medical team board his flagship. Hana volunteered to lead the team. Against all military advice, she brought Kai with her to serve as translator. The shuttle ride to the Dragon ship was terrifying. Hana had never been in space before, but she focused on her medical equipment and the patients who needed help. When they docked with Vex's flagship, Hana got her first look at adult dragons. They were magnificent and terrifying. Each warrior stood 3 meters tall with gleaming scales and razor-sharp claws. But they were also clearly sick. Their breathing was labored, and their scales had lost their shine. Vex himself met them at the airlock. The great war leader looked nothing like the imposing figure from the video recording. He was pale and weak, struggling to stay upright. "Father," Kai said quietly in the dragon language. Vex stared at his son with a mixture of rage and confusion. "You bring our enemies to heal us? This makes no sense." "It makes perfect sense," Kai replied in Korean so Hana could understand. "This is what strength really looks like." Hana ignored the political drama and went straight to work. She examined the ship's life support systems and quickly identified the problem. The atmospheric filters were designed for Dragon homeworld conditions. They couldn't handle Earth's oxygen-rich environment. "We can fix this in a few hours," she told Vex through Kai's translation. "But I need your crew to trust my medical team." What happened next shocked every dragon on the ship. Human medics moved through the vessel treating sick dragon warriors. They worked with gentle efficiency, asking no questions about politics or war. When a dragon was in pain, the humans eased that pain. When a dragon was dying, the humans fought to save their life. Vex watched in growing amazement as his worst enemies risked their own lives to heal his warriors. This contradicted everything he had been taught about the nature of power and conquest.
"Why?" he asked Hana as she treated his own poisoning symptoms. "Why save the lives of those who came to destroy you?" Hana looked up from her medical scanner. "Because you're sick, and I'm a healer. It's that simple." For war leader Vex, who had
spent his entire life believing that mercy was weakness, this was an earth-shattering moment. These humans were not weak. They were something he had never encountered before. They were stronger than fear. War leader Vex stood in his command center watching something that should have been impossible. Human medical teams worked throughout his flagship, healing dragon warriors who had come to destroy Earth. The poisoning symptoms that had been killing. His crew were disappearing under human care. But the most impossible sight was his own son working alongside the humans. Kai translated medical terms and helped comfort frightened dragon patients. The small prince who had once been considered defective was now serving as a bridge between two species. "This changes nothing," Vex told himself. "Once we are healed, we complete our mission." But doubt crept into his thoughts. In dragon society, wounded warriors were left to die or recover on their own. The weak did not deserve help. Yet these humans risked their own lives to save enemies who had threatened their world. On the lower decks, something even more remarkable was happening. A young dragon warrior named Tech lay dying from severe atmospheric poisoning. His lungs were filled with toxic fluid, and his hearts were failing. In dragon society, Tech would have been abandoned to die with honor. Instead, Hana worked for 6 hours straight to save his life. She used human medical technology to drain his lungs and repair his damaged organs. When Tech finally opened his eyes and breathed easily, the first thing he saw was a human woman smiling with relief. "Why save Tech?" he asked in broken Korean. "Tech came to hurt humans." "Because you were dying and I could help," Hana replied simply. Tech had never experienced mercy before. The concept was so alien to his understanding that it broke something fundamental in his worldview. He began asking other dragons if they had ever seen anything like human compassion. The answer was always no. Word spread through the fleet. Dragons, who had lived their entire lives believing that strength meant domination, were witnessing something new. These humans were strong enough to help their enemies. 3 days later, the medical crisis was over. All dragon ships had functioning life support systems. The sick warriors had recovered completely. By all rights, the invasion should have resumed. Instead, something unprecedented happened. Dragon warriors began requesting permission to visit Earth's surface, not to conquer, but to learn. They wanted to understand this strange human concept of healing enemies. Vex was furious. "We are warriors, not students. We came to retrieve my son and punish those who helped him." But his own crew was changing. Dragons who had never questioned orders began asking why they should destroy a species that had saved their lives. The breaking point came when Tech approached Vex directly. War leader, this warrior requests permission to remain on Earth as cultural observer. Denied, Vex snapped. We are dragons. We conquer or we die. We do not learn from lesser species. With respect, war leader, Tech replied carefully. These humans are not lesser. They are different. They have strength we do not possess. Compassion is weakness, Vex insisted. Then why are we alive? Tech asked. By our own laws, we should have been left to die when we became sick. These humans had every reason to let us perish. Instead, they saved us. If that is weakness, why does it feel so powerful? Vex had no answer. His entire understanding of power and strength was being challenged by the simple act of human mercy. That evening, Kai approached his father for a private conversation. They met in Vex's personal quarters aboard the flagship. Father, Kai wants to make offer, the small dragon said. You are in no position to make offers, Vex replied coldly. You have disgraced our family name and endangered our species by allying with aliens. Kai offers to return to draconic sovereignty, he continued as if his father had not spoken, but with conditions. This caught Vex's attention. What conditions? Kai returns not as prisoner, but as ambassador. Kai teaches dragon people what humans taught Kai. Show them that mercy and healing can be strengths, not weaknesses. Impossible, Vex said. The Sovereignty Council would never accept such ideas. Then draconic sovereignty will fall, Kai replied with certainty. Because other species will learn human ways. They will become stronger through compassion, while dragons remain weak through cruelty. Vex considered his son's words. Already he could see the effect human behavior was having on his own warriors. Dragons who had never questioned their brutal culture were now asking difficult questions. What if compassion really was a form of strength? The final decision came when a medical emergency struck the fleet. A massive solar flare damaged several dragon ships and injured dozens of warriors. Without hesitation, human medical teams rushed to provide aid. Vex watched Hana work tirelessly to save dragon lives. She had been awake for 36 hours straight, treating patients who had threatened to destroy her world. When she finally collapsed from exhaustion, dragon warriors caught her and gently carried her to rest. In that moment, Vex understood what his son had been trying to tell him. These humans had found a power greater than weapons or conquest. They had found the power to change hearts and minds through acts of kindness. 2 weeks later, the Draconic Sovereignty Fleet prepared to leave Earth's solar system. But they were not the same dragons who had arrived. Half the fleet requested permission to remain and establish the first Draconic embassy on Earth. They wanted to study human medical practices and philosophy of compassion. War leader Vex made an announcement to both species. The Draconic Sovereignty formally recognizes Earth as a sovereign world under our protection. Any species that threatens humanity will face the full might of our fleet. He paused and looked at his son. Prince Kai will serve as permanent ambassador. Between our peoples, he will teach dragons the human way of healing and teach humans the dragon way of protecting what matters. In Hana's apartment, which had become the unofficial embassy, she watched the news broadcasts with amazement. The small dragon with an infected tooth had somehow prevented an interstellar war and started a medical revolution. Kai thinks this is good outcome? The little prince asked. I think this is the best possible outcome, Hana replied. 5 years later, the transformation was complete. Dragon medical ships traveled throughout the galaxy, offering healing instead of conquest. Former warrior species learned compassion from human doctors. The dreaded Draconic Sovereignty became known as protectors of the weak rather than oppressors. Hana had established the first interspecies medical academy on Earth. Students from dozens of worlds came to learn the human approach to healthcare. The simple principle that all suffering should be relieved regardless of species had become a galactic standard. In the Academy's dental clinic, Hana worked alongside her oldest student. Kai had mastered human dental techniques and now specialized in treating species with unusual tooth problems. Remember when you thought humans were weak? Hana asked as they prepared for their next patient. Kai laughed, a sound like silver bells. Humans are terrifying. You conquered an entire galactic empire with nothing but kindness. Through the clinic window, they could see dragon medical ships preparing to launch. Each ship carried the lesson that a small dragon had learned in a Korean apartment. Sometimes the greatest strength was simply caring enough to help. The unexpected outcome of that first meeting between an adorable alien dragon and a human girl had changed the galaxy forever. It all started with a simple promise. "I'll fix that tooth," she had said. And in fixing one small problem, she had healed an entire civilization.